to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Simons?
Here.
Mr. Freehan is here. Mr. Boda?
Here.
Mr. Patsalas?
Here.
Mrs. Babel?
Here.
Mr. Horn?
Here.
All present?
Okay.
Me too. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Blackstock.
Blackstock, all right, all
I'm
present.
sorry.
All right, Debbie, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? I have one I would like to add to the agenda. There was a little communication about getting this, and we got it in our meeting Friday with DTE, and they'd asked us if we could get this on the agenda to speed this up, because we got a time frame if we want to get this paved. I won't go into it all right now, but this would be the St. Clair County Road Commission Local Funding Assistance Program for Recore Road.
NB, it's going to be NB,
New item 7.
NB 7.
New item 7.
No, we're going to make it 1A. Just moved up to top. So is there any other additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? We need a second to it if I propose it.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the agenda with the addition of the Recore Road paving project. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to public comment, or the approval of the minutes of July 1, 2019. You have them before you in the packet.
If there are no additions or deletions, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 1st, 2019.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the minutes of July 1, 2019. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak about anything that's not on the agenda? Nobody? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have C1, the June 2019 Historical Commission minutes. We have C2 is the June 2019 Zoning Board of Appeals minutes. C3 is the June 2019 Building Permit Report. C4 is the June 2019 Marine City Area Fire Authority. C5 is the June 2019 St. Clair Fire Authority. C6 is the June 2019 cash summary of bank. C7 is the June 2019 cash summary by account. C8 is the June 2019 balance report. And C9 is the June 2019 revenue and expenditure report.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
We have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to disbursements, we have invoices for $74,947.49. We have accounts payable of $38,440. We have direct payroll of $46,907.13. And we have an EFT payment of $18,621.76 for a total disbursement of $178,876.78.
I'll make a motion, we pay the disbursements total of $178,876.78.
I'll support.
All right, it's been moved and supported that we pay the bills in the sum of $178,876.78. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Freehan votes yes. Mr. Blackstock?
Yes.
Mr. Babel?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Betsalas?
Yes.
Mr. Boda?
Yes.
We have all affirmative.
Motion carries. We pay the bills. All right, moving on to new business. First thing is 1A is the St. Clair County Road Commission Local Road Funding System Assistant Program application for the Recor Road paving. We have a proposal in the back. We also have the two Edison representatives here, Dennis Decatur and Stephanie Beers. If there's any questions about what's going on here, we talked about this a few weeks ago, and what it's involved is resurfacing the Recor Road from where the pavement ends to King Road. It's going to be paid for with Detroit Edison, the St. Clair County Road Commission, and East China and China Townships. You can look on the second page or third page, it shows the numbers of what's proposed. So 100,000 by the Road Commission, 500 by DTE, 15,000 by East China, and 15,000 by China, if necessary. We had an estimate, and if we run over, we may have to pay some of that, but those will be the last things paid.
Total of $630,000.
How long is it? It's about 2 miles? Mile? Mile?
Larry, we've used this road assistance program in the past, and I think it's really enhanced our township and has really helped our township out a lot. I'd also like to thank the Detroit Edison for stepping up and helping us out on this, because it's really going to benefit both of us, of course, because we'll have an alternate route once our bridge goes down.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd like to thank you for stepping up with that, but I think this is definitely a benefit to our township, and I would make a motion that we approve the road system funding assistance program application.
I'd like to support that motion.
I never thought I'd see Recor Road paved.
And the other thing, this is not affecting our local road funding for what we have planned too. This will be
Oh,
an
so we still
addition
have
to.
another,
This will be an addition too. So,
That's still a good deal.
it's a good thing, so. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Babel?
Yes.
Mr. Blackstock?
yes.
Freehan votes yes. Mr. Simons?
Yes?
Mr. Boda?
Yes.
Mr. Betsalas?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
All yes, all yes.
Okay, thank you. Would you guys like to speak, or? Yeah, go to the podium if you want.
He said no.
It'll be on television.
Take the podium?
Please.
What do you got for me? No, as you know, one of the driver's forces, they're taking the bridge out of service the same time as we're gonna hit peak craft next year. So, along with that, by the way, the MDOT has approved the installation of a traffic light at the site that's temporary during the peak of construction. So for 2020 and 2021, we'll have a temporary light installed so that we won't have 700 vehicles trying to pull on M29 at the same time.
He's talking about the one coming out of the site at Reamer Road.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this would help facilitate the vehicle traffic rather than chartering it all the way down to Marine City, as well as circling around here in order to try and find a way to get back north. So, anyway, the funding, we've committed 500, the county kicked in 100,000, and then escalation is what that 30,000 is estimated at, if needed, based upon increasing costs of aggregate that they're seeing right now. But the intended project will be under the $600,000 cap.
I see they got some of the engineering all done, or are they surveying?
As soon as this started, the road commission started their studies, their surveys, and they've even got traffic counters out there working on everything too. So they are going to realign it slightly, back from, adjust the curve of the radius for traffic flow.
Mr. Simons, What's the load-bearing capability of the road going to be?
It will be a
Class
It's a
B, I believe.
Class B road, seasonal weight restrictions. It is not for heavy haul, but it is going to be a standard county road.
You're anticipating that most of the trucks will be empty when they're going?
DTE won't be using trucks on it, but if there are trucks that do, like county, we've had that discussion. The county can't keep trucks off the county roads,
As long as they're
but they would
legal
be,
load.
as long as they're legal load, they could use it. So movers, aggregate haulers, whatever's going through, they could use the road.
And most of the big equipment, maybe just a little explanation, Dennis, is coming in by barge and rail, correct?
All of that's coming by our.
All the
by
big
barge and rail.
stuff's coming in.
All of our heavy stuff is, yeah.
by
Those will be
barge and-
arriving this fall.
By rail.
Both. Barge and
Yeah,
rail.
Barge
and
mostly.
Oh, okay.
Be unloaded at St. Clair.
St. Clair, using the St. Clair dock.
Okay, any other questions?
A while back, they were talking about Reamer Road
Okay.
being put through the property from 29 to King Road. Is that discussion going to come back up anymore? I know they decided not to do it, but there was discussion
That
several
was
months ago.
vacated way back in the
I was gonna say.
late 80s.
The, on property, that road is vacated, and it does no longer align, and I won't ever say never, but as long as Bell River's in existence, it won't happen.
Thank you.
And the other thing with the site, the Blue Water site, that is one way in and one way out, correct?
It is one way in, one way out,
That's for
because
the
of the NERC security perimeter
The
around Bell River.
security around the plant, that's why they've deemed it like that.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edison.
Thank you.
And they'll be coming back time to time to update us. We talk Friday, we meet once a month
meet
with them
monthly.
on Fridays, and they'll be coming back for a little presentation here in a few months. And we'll go from there.
County intends to have that paved this fall.
Thank you.
Right, and that's why we had to add it to get it going. This was the holdup on it right now, so. Okay,
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all righty.
Have a good night, thanks.
I want to thank the board for letting me add that to the agenda, because it just makes a 2 more week delay if we don't do it. All right, moving on to new business 1, request for sewage credit at 5976 River Road.
We have done this in the past, and our procedure is that as long as it is looked at by somebody out of the DPW or anybody that would sign, looks like Blaine has signed this. Again, it was a broken sump pump, the water didn't go into our sewer. I'll make a motion that we issue a credit, a sewage credit, for $192.03 to Robert and Mary Murphy.
I'll support.
You had Mr. Blackstock supported it.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second to give the sewer credit for $192.03. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Patsalos?
Yes.
Mr. Boda?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Free hands votes yes. Mr. Blackstock?
Yes.
Mrs. Babel?
Yes.
All yeas.
Motion carries. Give them the sewer credit. All right, moving on to new business 2, residential cross-connection ordinance amendment. Does everybody know what the cross-connection is? Do you know what that is, Debbie?
Not real sure about that.
It's where like an industrial customer is hooked onto our water line. We want to make sure there's no way that they can backfeed our line.
Okay.
So we have like backflow preventers or vacuum breakers. We also have them on the sprinkler systems. I don't know, is there any place else that anybody knows we have? Those are the 2 most common. It's mostly the businesses.
Okay.
This is now required by the state, isn't it?
Cindy, did you have anything to add to this?
Right, so this is actually for the residential cross-connection program. Our contractor, HydroCorp, does this all across the state, so they have gone through our ordinance and recommended some changes, and our attorneys looked it over, and this has been completely reviewed, and everything looks good. The only thing that the board wants to consider is what kind of penalties you would impose for infractions. That section is at the very end, penalties, and right now, what's in the proposed amendment is just a $sign. You can either choose to impose the standard civil infraction, which is in our code, which I put on the cover sheet, or you can impose something a little more strict, up to whatever you feel is appropriate.
Do we have a lot of these, Larry, in our township? I mean, do we have people, do we find it in the water plant that people are abusing?
No.
Nothing.
All it would take would be one to contaminate our whole system.
So right now, actually, the next item is our cross-connection program inspections, which is actually happening yesterday, or today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So I would say we had about 3 pages of addresses, maybe a couple hundred or so, that have connections through their sprinkler systems.
The sprinklers are the highest numbers, but the most critical would be your commercial.
And that's another program, another
Okay, this is just
ordinance.
the
This is for
sprinklers?
residential.
Okay.
Our current, the ordinance currently would impose a first violation of $50, that's what you show on the first sheet?
Well,
Yep.
what's written is, I'd have to pull up our current ordinance for the cross-connection. I'm not sure what is written, if it says our standard. If it says our standard civil infraction, that's what is on the cover sheet. So right now, this is a fully amended ordinance, so you're going to read that into the minutes and just decide what you want that penalty to be. I can try and pull that up right now to see if.
So our choice is to amend it with the current civil infraction amounts, or come up with something that we might feel is, if we felt
Right.
these were inappropriate, something else.
Right now, there is no penalty specified in your current ordinance. So one of the amendments, the critical amendments that we're making is to specify penalty. So now there's that section that is penalties imposed.
Okay, so there is nothing currently,
There is nothing.
the 17-4, 17-4.
Right. The only penalty is that they could discontinue water service, but there's no fine currently imposed according to the current ordinance.
For that specific ordinance, but there, we do
Correct.
have a standard
Correct.
one
This is the
for-
standard penalty
for
for
any ordinance.
any civil infraction.
And
Correct.
so it's a question of do we want to apply that?
Right. And if you look, the first violation of $50, do you think that's appropriate? As I noted here, we did a little research. Some communities charge up to $500 per infraction each day that it's not corrected as an infraction.
So the question might be, is the significance of this, because if a single inappropriate or incorrect cross connection could contaminate our entire water system.
Correct.
More than $50 worth of problem.
Yeah, I don't know if that would really make people,
Well, even 500 wouldn't do anything. Yeah, the whole system.
No, but that's,
$500.
the motivation might be a little greater if it were more than $50 to.
yeah.
And most of this would be groundwater that would be getting into it. That's what would get into the system, to go through the sprinkler heads.
Or it could be from,
Could be from boilers
home.
too, for their backflow preventer.
yeah.
Oh, on boilers?
Yes.
Yeah. Could get some,
Yep.
could get some antifreeze in it or something like
You
that.
get
Yeah.
toxic materials, yeah.
Yeah, just like a Bill River plant when you started.
So what our action is to read the ordinance, and then in the last paragraph, apply fines of not less than I'm on the last paragraph.
Right.
Right.
Fines of not less than, or read the whole section of 17.4.
You can refer to the standard, section 17.4, Schedule of Civil Infraction Fines. So we could read it in if you want to adopt it as per standard. You can do a set amount, you can do a not more than, not to exceed then. Right, but when you read it into the minutes this evening, that's what you'll want to make sure to clarify, if you choose to adopt the amendment.
Well, I just think that we don't want to do such a big fine. If we go around and inspect the backflow preventers on the sprinkler system and the people don't even know about it, to be giving them a $500 fine, I think would be a little bit out of line, in my opinion. But
It's a little stiff.
What are we charging for the inspection for the cross connection?
I don't have that at my fingertips. We did, well, let's see. We got the extension.
I mean, they're already paying something annually.
I thought we were doing those. We're not paying anything for them.
We are,
We're doing them, but I
I
thought
don't
we
think
were
we're
charging.
charging. We agreed to do that on our own. I think that's what the motion was. I don't have it in front of me. Seems I remember that.
residents are not being charged for the inspections, correct? Was that your question?
I don't think they charge for that.
And we're doing that in-house, or we contracted
We
that out?
contracted out, correct.
Contracted
I
that
think
out,
it came out to be about $50 per resident.
Yeah, it was like $13,000 to do them all.
Right, we decided to include that.
But it is required.
It is required.
So if that is done properly each year, there really shouldn't be a problem.
Right, and so right now, because we're at the inspection phase, this ordinance would not become effective until after these inspections are done. So this ordinance would become effective on the next cycle of inspections.
And how often are the inspections? did you say?
Annual. I
Annual?
believe they're annual, yeah.
And we had talked about sending one of our employees to do that,
Right,
have that training.
right.
I think you remember when we had that conversation. And if we had that, it would just be the labor, to send somebody out. I imagine they could do quite a few inspections in an hour. I don't know.
Well, I just feel if we are inspecting it and we are paying for that inspection every year, if there is a cross-contamination, it would have to be something deliberate that they're doing. So I think the fine should be excessive because, we're inspecting it every year and we're paying for that inspection. So if they're going to do something intentional to cross-contaminate, possibly, contaminate our water plant, I think the fine should be heavy.
Good point.
And we'll do quite a bit of public
then
education
if they're
once
doing
the
it
ordinance is
intentionally,
adopted. It'll be on our
they won't
website.
care about
It'll be
fine.
probably posted. The annual inspections are coming up. Please be aware,
Yeah,
fines will be imposed.
So we're looking for two numbers, should be not less than and not more than for each violation.
Actually, that's how it's written, just as a template. You can word it however you want. If you want a set fine, you can do that. If you would like to adopt the civil infraction schedule, or if you want to do a sliding per-day scale.
It could read just $500 for each infraction.
Correct.
Good, yeah. That's. Or the other option is to accept the civil infraction code that we have now, which is $50 and graduates up to $500. We don't want to go 4 instances.
I don't think they
polluting the
should be
water.
allowed a third and fourth
Right,
violation.
so each time you send
Right.
someone out
So
to
I say
inspect
we don't wanna go
it-
there.
No, I don't think they should be allowed a third. If they violate it once, then violate it again. Now they're really pushing the button. It's,
Then they throw them in
How
jail.
about 250 for the first violation?
that would be reasonable.
You go 500, 600 for second, 700.
No, I said 250 for your first violation. And because like Angela said, we're inspecting the cross connection.
We'll just make it $250 a day. Upon finding that there's an error with it, that
It has to be corrected, or they have to.
Yeah, it has to be
Oh,
corrected. Yeah.
That's a good idea, Herb.
They have to call for inspection on that too.
Well, we would find the infraction.
Right, but I'm saying he claims he fixes it, calls the township. township to send over for another inspection, just to make sure it's done.
Okay,
Somebody needs to make a motion.
we just need a motion. Herb, you want to make that?
I'll make a motion that we just add in that for the infraction for cross-contamination, it's $250 a day in fines till it's repaired.
Support. So you need to read,
We have a motion. Do we have a support for that?
I support.
Ms. Babel supported.
Mr. Boda?
No, Mr. Babel
Oh,
supported.
Mike Davo, okay.
Somebody want to read the,
You know, Larry, look at this front.
We're not doing that.
Well, I understand that. What I'm saying is, they talk about first violation, second, third, fourth.
That's in our civil infraction code.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying, they suggest something like
We could, but
that.
the motion
We
was,
don't want to do that way.
it's 250 days. We want this fixed. We don't want this to continue to be feeding our water system.
Right. Well, approve the whole damn system.
you want me to read the,
Sure.
okay. This would be the ordinance. The ordinance amendment would read as follows, 45-28, cross connections, Section A, State Code, the township adopts by reference and incorporates into this section the cross connection control rules, Part 14 of Michigan's Safe Drinking Water Act, Act 399, Public Act 1976 as amended. B, testing and certification. All testable backflow prevention assemblies shall be tested for good working order upon the following. 1, initially upon installation or relocation, including reinstallation of seasonal assemblies that are taken out of service for a period of time and reinstalled. 2, after a repair. And 3, on an annual basis or as required by the East China Township in accordance with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Engineering requirements. Testing may be performed only by individuals holding an active ASSE 5110 tester certification, and all testing results must be certified by the individuals performing such testing. C, inspections. It shall be the duty of East China Township to inspect all properties served by the public water supply where cross connections with the public water supply is deemed possible. The frequency of inspections and re-inspections based on potential health hazards involved shall be established by East China Township and as approved by the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. D, right of entry. Representatives of East China Township shall have the right to enter at any reasonable time any property served by a connection to the water supply system for the purpose of inspecting the piping system or systems thereof for cross connections. On request, the owner, lessees, or occupants of any property so served shall furnish to the inspection agency any pertinent information regarding the piping system or systems on such property. The refusal of such information or refusal of access, when requested, shall be deemed evidence of the presence of cross connections. Discontinue water service. East China Township is hereby authorized and directed to take precautionary measures as deemed necessary to eliminate any danger of contamination to the water supply system from any property wherein any connection in violation of this article exists. East China Township has the authority to discontinue water service until the cross connections have been eliminated in compliance with the provisions of this article. F, public protection. The potable water supply made available on the property served by the public water supply shall be protected from possible contamination as specified by this article and by the State of Michigan Plumbing Code. G, other codes. This section does not supersede the State of Michigan Plumbing Code, but is supplementary to it. H, penalties. That any person or customer found guilty of violating any of the provisions of this ordinance or any written order of East China Township in pursuance thereof shall be deemed guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon conviction thereof shall be punishable by a fine of not less than $250 a day for each violation. Each day upon which the violation of the provisions of this ordinance shall occur shall be deemed a separate and additional violation for the purpose of this ordinance.
Okay, do we have a second for that?
We had a second. Mr. Blackstock, Ms. Babel.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Everybody understands what we're doing? Okay, All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now moving on to the commercial cross-connection program extension proposal. What they're asking for is to extend the contract with HydroCore.
We had a 3-year agreement with them, didn't we?
What's that?
We had a 3-year agreement with them,
Yeah.
and this would be the second year.
Now, Dwayne's asking to extend it.
It's extended one more year.
We're asking for another 3-year extension. And the annual amount of the contract is,
I don't think they're asking for an extra 3 years. It says this agreement is for the second extension of our 3-year proposal.
oh,
So it'll expire next year.
okay.
Yeah, so this is the second
That's a 1 year,
extension.
3,000,
$3,096.
yeah. Okay. That's monthly payments of $258. Well, we have to have, we don't have anybody that's qualified to do that, so, I mean, we have to contract it. And Dwayne is quite satisfied. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cindy?
No,
He's asking us to do this.
I'll make a motion that we enter with HydroCore into the second year of our 3-year agreement for the cross-connection program extension proposal in the amount of $3,096 or $258 a month.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a support to extend 1 year the commercial cross-connection program extension.
Is that 1 year or 3 years?
One.
1 year, the second year we're doing, right?
Yeah, we're doing this second year right now.
Does everybody understand what we're doing? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Freehan votes yes. Mr. Boda?
Yes.
Mr. Patsalas?
Yes.
Mr. Blackstock?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Babel?
Yes.
All yeas.
Motion carries, we renew the 1 year contract. All right, moving on to new business item 4, request to attend training, plant water superintendent. This is Mr. Loper, our plant superintendent, has asked for this. Cindy, you talked with him. You want to add whatever?
Well, he brought this to my attention, looking for my support, and so we did reach out to some other communities that have sent people, and they found it to be extremely valuable. Looking in Mr. Loper's personnel file, it appears he has not taken any leadership training since he was hired. So this would be granting him the permission to be off-site. The funds actually come from the authority budget, and they have already budgeted a certain amount that he's able to authorize without going to their board, and this falls within that.
So what's he looking for from the board then? Is he looking for like 3 days off work, or is he looking for?
The ability to attend training at an off-site facility. Correct.
Which would be the wages.
So he's looking for his wages.
Yeah, we're going to be paying him, but
Yeah.
it's going to be,
Well,
it's going to be coming out of the sewer and water.
it does. It all
Out of their
comes,
budget.
it's granting him, just as if you would grant me the opportunity to go to a conference and be off-site. It's pretty much the same thing. The funding is already accounted for in his salary or his hourly pay through the Water Authority budget.
It's a 3-day program,
Yes.
16th to the 18th.
So this would not require a roll call, because it's not, we're not funding it as such, the water and.
I would believe so, right.
I'd make a motion that we approve Mr. Loper's attendance at the 2019 Management and Supervisory Leadership Training Program to be held September 16th through 18th, 2019 at the Waterford Township DPW.
I'll
I'll
support.
support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a support to allow the water plant superintendent to attend. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 5, request to attend MERS conference, township manager. As you know, we're quite involved in MERS. I got the flyer to go. In talking with Cindy, one of us should go, or somebody should go. The more we can learn about this MERS, I think is better for the township. We're quite involved. This has a lot to do with our $3.7 million of unfunded liability. It's not that expensive a thing. I think it was, what, $175? Yeah, and that's why we brought it now, because if you sign up now, it's $175. If we waited till August 16th, it's $250. This in October. If for some reason Cindy can't go, I could go, or one of the other board members could go too.
Right, it's a little far out for me to say absolutely I can go, but I want to get our slot
Yeah.
for the
And
conference.
we
and then
haven't
someone
attended anything with the MERS other than what I've attended at the convention, so,
I think it's very important that we have some representative there.
yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we allow Cindy or Larry or any other board member that would like to attend the MERS conference on October 3rd and 4th with all expenses.
Support.
No support.
Herb, yeah. We have a motion and a support to allow the township manager, myself, or any other board member that wants to go to this, to learn about MERS, to go. And I guess you should add with your expenses too, or did you have that?
I said with all necessary expenses.
Oh, you did, okay. With necessary expenses. Everybody understand what the motion and the second was? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Patzala.
Yes.
Mr. Boda,
Yes.
Mr. Simon,
Yes.
Brianne votes yes. Mr. Blackstock.
Yes.
Mrs. Babel,
Yes.
all yeas.
Motion carries, we allow that to happen. All right, moving on to new business, item 6, sledding hill at East China Park. You have that in your packet. I'm gonna let Mr. Freehand present that.
At the last meeting, we approved in the minutes, you can see the motion that I made, and it was supported by Mr. Horn, designating the Park Commission as responsible for sledding hill maintenance except for snow-making machine maintenance and operation. The motion passed. When things go into the minutes like this, and then 3 years from now, somebody's trying to find it, it's extremely difficult in the minutes because the minutes are not indexed. So by making this a resolution, and you have a proposed resolution attached, we keep the resolution, we give resolutions a number, and we also index the resolution. So it would be easier for them to find it in the future when they're trying to remember, did you say we were supposed to, or we're supposed to, or you're supposed to? So it's basically, it's the same motion.
Just a clerical.
It's just in the form of a resolution. And so we would actually adopt it in the form of a resolution. So you have a proposed resolution there.
Okay.
Any questions?
Is there any questions about what? Do you want to go ahead and read it, Bob?
Be it resolved, Resolution 07-2019, be it resolved, the East China Township Board hereby designates the Parks Commission to be responsible for maintenance of the sledding hill, except for the maintenance and operation of the snow-making machine. All resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution be and the same hereby are rescinded.
And I'll support that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the resolution 07-2019. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That completes our new business. I would like to ask the township manager, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay. Okay, then now, we have no old business. I don't have any announcements to make.
Wow.
So we'll move on to, member comments, yeah. Move on to member comments. Mr. Horn.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, we still have a problem with the cruisers on this river, and with the sailboat race this week, it's gonna be terrible. And I would just like to see if we could get it shut down.
Well, we're thinking that maybe you should call the county, people should call the county, should call the sheriff's department. We have no jurisdiction out there on that river.
We have called the sheriff department.
Everybody's calling them daily, and I think that's what you gotta do.
We even called the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
We called the Coast Guard, we called the county sheriff.
If they could have a no-wake law on that river, it would
Well,
clear up
we can't impose that.
I know that.
That has to be done by, I believe, the governors, but and they're not doing it.
Unless they post this river differently, it's got the 200 and 600-foot rule on this section of the river.
Most of them are running up 600 feet, they're running on the Canadian side.
And if they do impose a no wake, it'll be on just the American side.
Yeah, because Canada doesn't have a wake law.
What's that?
The waves from the cruisers on the Canadian side still make.
I know, they just take so longer to get here. Yeah, I agree.
And they're bigger.
And Canada has no wake law, so
Shame on them.
that's what I said for years.
All we can say is call your county commissioner, call your state rep. I mean, we've talked to the county, we've talked to the emergency management, we've asked. They say they've applied, they sent letters over to the governor, they haven't got no response.
How is it enforced in Parsons Island,
I have-
Albion, and Clay?
I don't know. I think down there it's narrower, and they can impose the 600, because if it's 1,200 feet across, if it's less than 1,200 feet across, you can't get 600 feet from both shores.
They're complaining on Russell Island and Fawn Island now,
Yeah.
on the Canadian side.
I mean, I think this board and myself, I mean,
I know there's,
we know what you're saying, but we don't know how to correct it. I mean, it's out of our jurisdiction. We've talked to all these people. I mean, we haven't called the governor, but that's up to the county to call them. You know, we're go up the ladder and they're going up the ladder. So our emergency management, he's working on it, I believe. So, anything else, Don?
no, that's all I have tonight.
Mr. Pasales?
I don't have anything this evening, Larry, thanks.
Mr. Boda?
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Freehan?
I have nothing.
Mr. Blackstock?
Nothing.
Mrs. Fable?
Not tonight.
Nothing, no. I don't have a whole lot. I just like to say, I mean, myself and all the employees, we all feel for this water situation. It's so bad. We've tried to work with sandbagging seawalls. That's not what they want done now. What they want you to do is sandbag your house. You can't stop it from coming over the wall. But I've seen a lot of results where it has. So the county's telling us, I think they put out some kind of text or something, or a letter to everybody that you should sandbag your house. So we're saying do what you can temporarily, but if you're gonna do something drastic, we want you to get with our building department and find out what you can do legally.
Larry, if you got an extension on your seawall and you sandbag behind it, it really helps.
Well, a lot of them have, and that's the direction we've been working at.
I've got a.
But now the county's telling us, and I'm just quoting, when they give us these sandbags, they want them to go around the house. Am I correct on that,
That's
Cindy? That's what they want. They don't want you to keep sandbagging the seawall. I think when the water was a little bit lower, it seemed like bagging the seawalls was working. But I don't know, is the water up or down? I mean, it's hard for me to tell.
It's about holding its own.
It's holding its own now?
Yeah, staying the same right now. But it's raining up north and they're forecasting 3 days of storms here.
Yeah.
So,
So, I don't know, I just want, everybody to know that we're trying to do, and we're doing a lot. We're supplying sandbags. The one thing I want to ask the board is, what happens when we don't get any sandbags from the county? Do we want to go out and purchase them? They're roughly 25 cents.
No, 18 cents, we start to discuss amongst ourselves if that time comes.
Well, I talked to another township, and they're buying 100,000 at a time, and they're getting them for 16 cents.
16.
That's a lot of money. 100,000 bags is $16,000, I think. So, do we want to buy, we're talking about buying quantities of like 5 or 10,000 at a time. But what does this board want to do? I mean, I'm hearing stories from the other side too, that it's township money we're doing in the sand and all that, and I think it's great. But if we buy a lot of bags, should we give them away, or should we have the residents pay for what it costs us to buy the bags? Right now, we're getting the bags from the county, and that's great.
I think as you start charging people for them, it'd be less people want them, less people buy them.
Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, we want to do what we can, and we're calling the county almost on a daily basis trying to get these bags. They're rationing them now because everybody wants them. I mean, St. Clair's using them, Cotterville's using them, St. Clair Township, everybody along the waterway is using them. I mean, we're probably second or third most. Algonac's using a lot, Clay's using it, Ira. They're using a lot more down there than what we are. But it's up to the board. When we can't get them, what do you want us to do? What do you want me to do or Cindy
We'll
to
have
do?
to start looking at buying them then.
It would probably take 10 times more bags around your house than it would have
I
across
agree.
the seawall.
I agree. I agree.
The people who leave the garage door open.
But, it's one thing, we have the high water now, and it's tragic. What is it gonna be this winter when the ice comes?
The ice dams.
I mean, we don't have a crystal ball, we can't tell, but, I mean, just from living here all these years, we have experience that if it's high water and, we get a little jam up in Algonac and they can't get those cutters down there, it comes up pretty quick here.
Yes, it does. Comes up at least 2 feet.
Yeah, it could, and we're already, 6 inches above where we could live comfortably with. So what is the board want us to do? What direction do you want me to go?
I just say go and start pricing them.
We've already priced them. If you can get them for 18, we'll put you in charge of getting them.
Get 16, I'll do.
Well, I mean, they're buying 100,000 quantity.
Well, the county's.
That's a lot of bags on
The
it.
county's already.
We
gone.
probably give away 15,000,
Closer to 20 by now.
20,000 we've given away.
County's already, gotten 500,000 bags.
Yeah.
They're out of them.
Yeah, and it may be even hard to get them. I mean, but- so is that what we want to do? You want us to get them and then whatever we pay for them,
I
pass it
think-
along? Or?
Well,
I
get as
think we
many
should
as you-
have some on hand anyhow.
Well, that's what we got right there.
No, I mean, after these go, we should have
That's the end
some
of
on
them right
hand.
there.
I believe that's the end of them, isn't it?
Well, it depends on the day and when I call the county, what they have available.
So we send a truck up right
It's-
away to get them. I mean,
They tell me that to send someone's up within the hour, because that's how quickly they
they go.
act. And I can tell you that they do really emphasize the fact that these shouldn't be at the seawall. So I'm afraid if we're handing them out and they don't see us using them that way, that they may stop providing them. So,
That was the directive we were given. They're supposed to be used around your house, sandbag your house.
Yeah, but I started that one year in '84.
But using them around the house is going to take more sandbags than it
Yes,
would
it
take
is.
for the seawall.
Is there any other township or somebody we could go in with to buy a bigger quantity?
Well, that's an option we're looking at, yes. But we haven't decided to pull the trigger. That's what I'm asking for permission. Do we pull the trigger to buy some, or do we wait till we're out and can't get any more? But then it's probably gonna be a few days before we can get them.
How many do we have left there?
I don't know, there's probably
I mean,
2,000 there, 3,000?
Has there been any indication from like a commercial supplier that you better order now, or are these going to be readily available?
I haven't made contact. What I have is quotes that the county has given us. So at this point, those quotes could be a month old. They may hold, or they may have to, reevaluate availability. Maybe at this point, because we do have the flood emergency in place, truly, I'm authorized to do whatever is necessary without the board's approval. However, I would like a sort of not to exceed amount from now until the next time we meet, so that we can at least have a touchstone where, I feel comfortable doing it at your direction, but still with the authority.
Well, I would think that if we can't get them from the county, then we should have some supply on hand. And as we discussed, I think at the last meeting, we should sell them for whatever cost. If we have to purchase them commercially, then whatever it costs, whether it's 16 cents or 18 cents, because when we had the last meeting, it was 20 cents, people were paying 20 cents, 25 cents. So,
Those are the prices we're seeing,
24 through 29 cents.
and I don't think it would be that advantageous to have 100,000 of them to pay 16,000. I think we could probably, even if we had to pay 25 cents a piece for them, and get 10,000 or
That's
something
what we
like
thought,
that.
10,000 to start out.
I don't know where Lumberjack gets theirs, but they charge 50 cents.
Yeah, I know Lumberjack was charging 50 cents.
So they must be making some money on it.
Well, yeah, they're in business.
We're not meeting for 3 weeks now.
Right.
But it'll be 3 weeks.
Contact the county and see how many that they'll give you right now. Will they give you?
We call them every day.
Every day.
I'm saying that's
We do.
That's what,
what they would get.
So I would think that we give our manager, the authority to order them in 10,000 increments
Yeah.
for the price that you get it for, and then we'll just pass that cost on along as we need it. And, because like we said, we're not going to get together for 3 weeks, so if we go through those real fast, we have to have something on hand.
They'll be gone tomorrow.
Well, even if we got 10,000 and had them on hand here and
Right.
stored them, as long as we can get some from the county, we're gonna keep getting
Right.
but that'll be our emergency supply. You take in the spring, if Bell River backs up, we need a lot of sandbags over there on Bell Avenue. They need bags over there, so. We've usually kept about 7,000 to 10,000 in stock.
I don't think there's going to be a big difference or a great difficulty for a person to say, no, I'm only going to pay 18 cents, I'm not going to pay 25 cents when I need a sandbag.
Right.
Right.
There comes a certain point.
And we've got prices for $3.50 a bag full. So.
We're
price goes up.
providing the sand at this point.
Yes, we are. We are. For our residents, not for commercial use.
Yes, but the cost of the bag, I think, the difference between 16 cents, 18 cents, 25 cents, or whatever.
Well, we'll buy them wherever the cheapest we can get, but there's different grade of bags too. We want to make sure we get the right bags. Some of those white ones that we got from the county, they fall right apart. I don't know if you guys got any of those or not.
They did in '84 too.
The khaki ones too, they're not that good.
Yeah, these are the good ones right here, I think, these OD green ones. But,
Throw a couple of back.
Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, but I just want to let everybody know that we're on board, and everybody's fuse is getting a little short, and I've been out to a lot of properties. People have been complaining to me. Some of them got short with me. I apologize if I was short to you, but if you realize how many calls we're fielding here, I get 2 or 3 every day. I mean, not when I'm here, but on my cell phone all day, which I don't mind taking, but, don't whip us because we haven't done something. We're trying to do what we can, but, and I know, walking through water to get to your house every day is not a pleasant thing to be doing.
I'm pumping out, but I get the water from my neighbors. And I stay dry.
Yeah. Okay, I guess a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 8:24.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn at 8:24. Do we have a second?
I'll support.
We have a motion to support Don and Don. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.